Hello, and welcome to a continuation video for Natural Selection 2 and for players who are interested in commanding as a Marine. This is continuing from a previous video where we covered the robotics factory and what it can do and its units that it deploys. In this case, we have the Mac here, and we have the ARC deployed in data core. We are in explore mode. And I'm going to go ahead and scan so you guys can see that we've, at this point, taken down the hive, and there's some sentries in here and an observatory that are built and have basically cleaned up in here. There was a hive here. This is explore mode. So let's move on to what I think is probably the most important building in the game by far, or structure, and that is your observatory, which I just clicked to on accident, though. I just clicked to research phase gates. So an observatory is essential because it's the only building that allows you to unlock phase gates. So almost always you want to immediately drop an observatory and get phase gates researching. Now, why do you want to do that? You want to do that because it allows for you to preemptively see if an alien is inbound to your location. It also allows for you to scan. There's a huge number of advantages that are just in any RTS game. You need to be able to see the map. You need to be able to see what your enemy is doing. You need to know what's going on. And the observatory is the way to do it. Now, I just upgraded this observatory, I basically unlocked phase gates. Well, I've got a Mac here to do the work for me, so I'm going to go ahead and build a phase gate. Now, here, let me include some tactics. Where would you put a phase gate and why? Where would you put it and how would you locate it? Well, in gameplay, it's very common for aliens to attack the power node. So it's also a very good idea to have your phase gate facing your power node so that when your Marines emerge, they can immediately defend it. Now, if you can have it pointing at more than one important structure, that's probably a good idea. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and deploy it in a way that allows me to spawn in this direction. Now, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. It's just one way of doing it. And I'll explain why I placed this phase gate in this location. Before I do, I'm going to go ahead and tell my Mac to go over here and build it. So this phase gate is facing in this direction towards this portion of the room because Marines emerge from the phase gate, they're automatically able to defend the power node and start shooting. They can also see if there's any other things going on the right side of the room that may be in trouble. They can immediately turn to the right and defend the res node. It's just, in my opinion, a great place to put it in order to set your Marines up for a good defensive posture when entering the room, or aggressive posture, whatever. So now that the phase gate is up, obviously, if there were Marines to come through it, that would be great. But problem is that there's no other phase gate. So instead of having my Mac come all the way over here, I'm going to go ahead and build another phase gate. All right, well, what do I want to do with this phase gate here? Again, following the same idea, I want to have my phase gates pointing towards important structures. One of the most important structures in the room is the power node. So in here, I typically like to kind of put it in this area facing towards this way. Now, this protolab was actually auto-dropped by the explore mode, and isn't necessarily an ideal location for me. Now, you guys got to remember, anytime you place a structure anywhere, this is just a general tip, it can be bile-bombed by a gorge, and you can easily lose it from certain angles. So if a gorge comes through here and then starts bile-bombing in this direction, these structures are going to get hit. So the phase gate is one that you really want to kind of try to prevent that. You could also come around here and bile-bomb over in this direction. So kind of what I like to do is, and this is also what I did over here, is I like to use columns as a shield. So if I was to put the phase gate here facing, if I was to put the phase here, I'll show you here. If I was to put it like this, then a gorge could come up this ramp and start spitting on it really easy. This just makes it a little bit more difficult by putting it in this location. And that's, one way of kind of helping prevent issues with the phase gate. Now I put the phase gate over here. You could also put it on the other side over here facing towards the power node as well. But again, just for demonstration purposes, this is one place I'll put it. So I'm going to put this phase gate. First of all, I'm actually going to build another Mac to do the work for me in this space. Now, if this Protolab wasn't here, I probably would have put the phase gate like this. It's got this column sort of shielding against it, and it's very hard for a gorge to come around and just easily spit on it. It has to actually enter the room to do it. So if this guy was the gorge, right? He can't hit the phase gate from here. He has to actually come all the way in to the room to hit the phase gate. So that's why I typically like to put it generally in that location. I've even put phase gates up in here facing towards the power node as well, but it's not easy for Marines to notice that it's up there, so I kind of like to put it down in here. So that's what I think. Those two structures are probably the most important structures for Marines to have. One, having an observatory to be able to see what's going on, and two, having a phase gate available to basically get around the map and get it in places. Let's review. Where would I put the phase gate in here? Well, once again, I always like to be facing the power node. Now, if I put it over here, there's a pretty good. It's semi-defensive in being able to see what's going on. This is one of these really vulnerable nodes that they can spit against here. They can bomb here, and you kind of have to wonder, well, what's the optimal place for it? Again, it's a judgment call. You can put it over here, so it makes it harder for them to hit it. I would say, it's probably a good idea to put it right there. That way, there's no gorge coming in around the corner and spitting it from here. There's no gorge coming in around the corner and spitting on it from here. We will go ahead and build another Mac to go build that. Ta-da! And let that go. So again, I don't want to over include information in individual videos, so I'm going to go ahead and end this one as the tutorial for the observatory and phase gates.